Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Sports Buzz, India's voice to the world. I am Deepika Mehto, and coming up in the next half an hour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacts with the Indian contingent that represented India at the Paris Olympics, says every player who went to Paris Olympics is a champion. Union Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia unveils para players' jersey on the sidelines of Paralympic send-off ceremony event today in New Delhi, wishes the contingent ahead of the Paralympic Games. English Premier League season returns to action on Friday. Manchester United all set to host Fulham at Old Trafford. And fast bowler Shamar Joseph takes 5 wickets as West Indies bowled South Africa out for 160 on the opening day. So those were the top headlines of the hour that we are tracing for all our viewers here on Sports Buzz. And to begin with the top news of the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with the Indian Olympic contingent in New Delhi. Addressing the players, Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded the Olympians for their performance and making the Indian flag fly high at the Paris Olympics. The athletes were totally excited to meet and interact with the Prime Minister. Here's a report. Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with the Indian Olympics contingent who returned from Paris after registering many firsts and scripting new records. While interacting with the athletes, Prime Minister talked about the first-time winners who created new benchmark in sports. From Manu Bhaker to Neeraj Chopra, Prime Minister praised them all.
ओलंपिक्स के करीब 125 साल के इतिहास में ये मनु हमारी पहली बेटी ऐसी है जिसने भारतीय खिलाड़ी के रूप में इंडिविजुअल इवेंट में 2 मेडल जीते हैं। हमारा नीरज पहला ऐसा भारतीय खिलाड़ी है जिन्होंने इंडिविजुअल इवेंट में गोल्ड और सिल्वर जीते। हॉकी में भारत ने 52 साल बाद लगातार 2 बार मेडल जीते कंटिन्यूसली। अमन ने केवल 21 साल की उम्र में मेडल जीत करके देश को बिल्कुल इतना प्रसन्न कर दिया है। और अमन के जीवन के विषय में आज देश जानने लगा है तो उनको लग रहा है कि भाई व्यक्ति के जीवन की कठिनाइयों से भी इंसान अपनी यात्रा को, स्वप्न को, संकल्प को सिद्ध कर सकता है।
Not only this, Prime Minister also encouraged the athletes who made it to the finals, missing the Olympic medals by a whisker.
विनेश पहली ऐसी भारतीय बनी जो कुश्ती में फाइनल तक पहुंची। ये भी हमारे लिए बड़ा गर्व का विषय है। ओलंपिक्स में 7 शूटिंग इवेंट्स में इंडियन शूटर्स फाइनल्स में पहुंचे और ये भी पहली बार हुआ है। इसी तरह तीरंदाजी में धीरज और अंकिता पदक के लिए खेलने वाले पहले भारतीय तीरंदाजी बने। और लक्ष्य, हमारा लक्ष्य सेन, आपके मैच ने तो पूरे देश का जोश बढ़ा दिया है। हमारे लक्ष्य भी ओलंपिक में सेमीफाइनल तक पहुंचने वाले एकमात्र पुरुष बैडमिंटन खिलाड़ी बने हैं। हमारे अविनाश सावले, इसने ट्रिपल चेज के फाइनल में क्वालिफाई किया। इस फॉर्मेट में ये भी फर्स्ट टाइम रहा।
PR Sritesh, who recently announced his retirement from hockey, shared a light-hearted moment with the Prime Minister.
हमारे लिए थोड़ा हार्ड था जब हम लोग सेमीफाइनल हार गए थे, क्योंकि ये टीम इस बार जब पेरिस के लिए गया था हमारा उम्मीद इतना था कि हम लोग फाइनल खेलेगा या गोल्ड के लिए हम लोग लायक है। बट जब सेमीफाइनल हार गया एकदम से थोड़ा दर्द लगा सबको। बट आखिर जब लास्ट मैच के लिए हम लोग उतरा था तब सब लोगों ने ये बोला कि यार ये मैच श्रीबाई के लिए जीतना है। तो मेरे लिए तो सबसे गर्व की बात यही है सर, क्योंकि इतना साल का जो मेहनत अपने देश के लिए किया है, ये भाई लोगों ने मेरे लिए साथ दिया, मेरे साथ दिया। और हम लोगों ने, मैंने स्पेशली वो पोडियम से अपना टीम को थैंक यू बोला और गुड बाय बोला सर।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi heard their experiences from the games and lauded their feats on the sporting field. He further said that every player who went to Paris is a champion and that the government of India will continue to support sports.
साथियों, आज भारत अपने यहाँ वर्ल्ड क्लास स्पोर्ट्स इकोसिस्टम डेवलप करने की प्राथमिकता दे रहा है। ग्रासरूट से आने वाले खिलाड़ियों को उनको तराशना ये बहुत जरूरी है। हमने गांव-गांव, शहर से युवा प्रतिभाओं को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए खेलो इंडिया मुहिम शुरू की और मुझे खुशी है कि खेलो इंडिया से निकले 28 खिलाड़ी इस ओलंपिक समूह का हिस्सा बने।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted the Olympic-bound contingent at his residence in New Delhi, reaffirming government's commitment to keep supporting the athletes and providing them with top-quality sporting infrastructure in India. Sports Desk, TD India. Union Minister Sarbanand Sonowal also felicitated Olympics double medalist Manu Bhaker, presenting her with a cheque of 10 lakh Indian rupees. Manu Bhaker was presented with a bouquet of flowers and her parents were also honoured during the meeting. The interaction moved the parents to tears when she was thanked for making the nation proud. Union Sports Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya graced the grand send-off ceremony in New Delhi for the Indian contingent heading to the Paris Paralympic Games. The minister called them a source of inspiration for the nation. With the largest contingent ever and robust backing from the government side, the Indian athletes are poised not just to participate but to excel at the Paralympic Games.
The Paralympic Committee of India held a grand send-off committee in Delhi for the Indian contingent heading to the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games. The event was graced by Union Sports Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya, who expressed pride in athletes, calling them a source of inspiration for the nation.
लेकिन आपने हमेशा माना होगा कि सब लोग सब कुछ कर सकते हैं। यही हौसले के साथ आपने खेला होगा, तब जाके आज के इस अवसर में आप उपस्थित रह पाए हैं। दोस्तों, आप देश का गौरव है, आप देश का प्राउड है, नहीं केवल प्राउड है लेकिन आप देश के 140 करोड़ लोगों के प्रेरणा के स्रोत है। जीत ले बाजी, जान लगा दे, धरती तुझे देखे।
During the ceremony, the anthem Macha Dhoom was unveiled, setting the tone for the games. Union Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports, Raksha Kadse, also attended the send-off ceremony, voicing confidence in the abilities of the para-athletes.
जब भी हम हमारा जो लाइफ स्ट्रक्चर है या हम जैसे यूथ है जो काफ़ी दिक्कत मतलब अपने अपने लाइफ में स्ट्रगल करते हैं, लेकिन कई बच्चे रुक जाते हैं या कोई गलत डिसीजन लेते हैं। जब आपकी जर्नी हम देखते हैं कि आप इतने डिफ़िकल्ट इसमें भी या इतने जो भी आपकी जर्नी है उस जर्नी में आप कितना अचीवमेंट कर रहे हो, तो आप सबकी जर्नी हम सब के लिए काफ़ी प्रेरणादायी हमेशा से रही है।
Tokyo Paralympic gold medalist Sumit Antil praised the improved facilities provided to Indian athletes.
ये बात बिल्कुल जायज़ है कि सुविधाओं में कोई भी कमी एथलीट को अभी महसूस नहीं हो रही है। वी हैव वर्ल्ड क्लास फैसिलिटीज़ और मेरे होम टाउन में जैसे साई सोनीपत में एक अलग से जेवलिन ट्रैक भी है हमारे लिए और वे ट्रेनिंग की भी काफ़ी अच्छी फैसिलिटीज़ हैं। तो उम्मीद है सर कि आने वाले टूर्नामेंट्स में काफ़ी अच्छा फ़ायदा देखने को मिलेगा हम उस चीज़ को।
The send-off ceremony highlighted India's growing commitment to para-sports. With the largest contingent ever and robust backing from the government, Indian athletes are poised not just to participate but to excel at the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games. Narang Singh's report for DD India.
Well, regarded as one of India's best first rushers in the hockey team, Indian defender Amit Rohidas, who made headlines after he was handed a red card in the quarterfinals at the Paris Games, reflected on the historic bronze medal triumph in Paris in an exclusive conversation with DD India's correspondent. Rohidas said that he did not hit Great Britain's player intentionally and also spoke about the beautiful tribute given by Hockey India to P.R. Srijesh.
India's bronze medal triumph at Paris Olympics was truly historic, and to talk more about that, I have with me is Indian defender Amit Rohidas. Amit, ओडिशा से लेके इंडियन टीम तक का सफ़र, जब भी एशियन गेम्स हो या फिर अब पेरिस ओलंपिक्स हो या फिर टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स हो, आप उनका हमेशा से पार्ट रहे हैं, तो आप इस अपने सफ़र को किस तरह से देखते हैं?
देखिए, जब से मैंने खेलना स्टार्ट किया हूँ तब से जर्नी बहुत टफ रहा है। फैमिली का बहुत सपोर्ट रहा है, क्योंकि अगर फैमिली सपोर्ट नहीं करेंगे तो इतना दूर पहुंच नहीं सकते हैं। तो मैं परिवार को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं, मेरे साथ हमेशा खड़ा रहते हैं और ये जर्नी यहां तक पहुंचाए हैं। और जितने भी मैंने इंडियन हॉकी टीम के लिए मैंने मेरे तरफ से जो भी मेरा ड्यूटी रहता है उसके लिए मैंने अपना हार्ड वर्क करके ही मैंने मेहनत दे रहा हूँ कि जब से मैंने इंडियन टीम से जुड़ा हुआ हूँ। इस बार का सभी का यही माइंडसेट था कि कलर चेंज करेंगे मेडल का, हो नहीं पाया, लेकिन हमने खाली हाथ से नहीं आया, मेडल लेके मेडल ही होता है देश के लिए। तो ये जर्नी बहुत टफ रहा है और बहुत अभी खुश लग रहा है और सभी देश प्राउड मोमेंट अभी सेलिब्रेट भी कर रहा है।
आप एक अहम हिस्सा निभाते हैं जब भी पेनल्टी कॉर्नर को डिफेंड करना होता है, तो जब आपको रेड कार्ड मिला तो आपकी पहली क्या रिएक्शन थी और टीम वालों ने आपसे क्या कहा जब सेमीफाइनल आप नहीं खेल पाए?
देखिए, क्वार्टर फाइनल में मेरे को 17 मिनट के बाद रेड कार्ड दिया गया, जो कि मैंने जानबूझ के नहीं मारा था। सभी इसके लिए चर्चा कर रहे हैं, देश चर्चा कर रहे हैं, प्लस टीममेट भी चर्चा कर रहे हैं कि वो रेड कार्ड नहीं था। अगर देना ही था तो अगर 5 मिनट या 10 मिनट का येलो कार्ड भी दे सकते थे, लेकिन जो पूरा मैच बाहर कर दिए, ये टीम का नुकसान हो रहा था उस टाइम। ऑब्वियसली अगर 2 मिनट अगर 5 मिनट का कार्ड मिलता है तो उस टाइम टीम का बहुत प्रॉब्लम होता है। जो टीममेट ने करके दिखाया है वो आज तक इंटरनेशनल इवेंट में ऐसा हुआ नहीं है। देश पूरा जान चुका है कि 10 प्लेयर से कैसे खेला जाता है और कैसे जीत के निकलते हैं। सेमीफाइनल मैच बहुत क्रूशियल मैच होता है, क्योंकि अगर वो मैच जीतते हो तो आप गोल्ड मेडल मैच के लिए खेलोगे। तो वो मैच मैंने बहुत मिस किया, टीममेट्स भी बहुत मिस किया, सभी ने देश भी मिस किया कि अगर अमित सेमीफाइनल खेलता तो कुछ और अलग हो सकता है।
श्रीजेश अब रिटायर हो चुके हैं, तो कितनी कमी खलेगी श्रीजेश की और उनके शूज़ को कौन फिल कर सकता है, और अब आप एलए के लिए क्या देखते हैं?
श्री भाई का आज हॉकी इंडिया ने जो शानदार प्रोग्राम रखा था, ये मैं हॉकी इंडिया को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ। आज तक ऐसे प्रोग्राम नहीं हुआ है रिटायरमेंट किसी प्लेयर का। ये चीज़ मैं आगे भी ऐसे प्रोग्राम करें, क्योंकि प्लेयर को लाइफ में वो प्लेयर ही जानता है कि क्या स्ट्रगल करके क्या देश का वो खेलता है, कितना मेहनत करके खेलता है। लेकिन लास्ट में जब वो रिटायरमेंट होता है उसको सम्मान दे के विदा करना चाहिए, अभी वो प्लेयर वो सेटिस्फेक्शन खुशी मिलता है। श्री भाई के लिए तो क्या बोलूँ, वर्ड्स ही नहीं है।
So that was Indian defender Amit Rohidas, who talked about his journey, his hardships from Odisha to the Indian national team. He talked about his bronze medal triumph in Paris and also how P.R. Srijesh will be missed in the Indian national team. With cameraman AK, this is Abhishek Prasad for DD India.
We're heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India Sports Buzz. German attacking midfielder Marco Reus signed for LA Galaxy on a 2.5-year deal. Alexander Zverev wins his 50th match of the season at the Cincinnati Open, beating Karen Khachanov.
The World Wildlife Organization tells us that over 3 billion people across the globe rely on seafood. There are efforts being made to preserve our marine ecosystem. So let's dive right in.
The course of the river was getting shrinked in the upstream areas. And when there is no freshwater flow, the river Ichamoti only survives in the downstream areas, and it has become, in our terminology, we call it a tidal inlet.
Habitat from so many places in the world, and people didn't even know that it had happened.
Mussels that live at the bottom of the lake have this large effect on the biology of the entire life.
This is the poster that we provide to people on our fish walks. So they can just look at this and identify which are the fish in season, and when we give them the test to go out and identify sustainable fish.
It's worrying because rising temperatures cause the water to expand and with it, the sea level to rise.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India Sports Buzz. Now to bring you all the latest from the world of soccer. The English Premier League season returns to action on Friday when Manchester United will host Fulham at Old Trafford. With this, Erik ten Hag begins his third campaign in charge of the Red Devils. Earlier, the Dutch coach was given a reprieve for a terrible league season due to United winning the FA Cup. In the new season, Erik ten Hag will have newcomers Matthias Dulo and Nazir Mazrouzi, who will be available for Friday's season opener. But the manager lamented that his team is not quite ready for the new Premier League campaign. On the other hand, Fulham have a fully fit squad to choose from as they attempt to make it back-to-back league victories at Old Trafford. New midfield signing Emil Smith-Rowe is set to start and will likely to join former United man Andreas Pereira in midfield. And to discuss more on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent from London, Ollie Barrett. A very good evening to you from India, Ollie. EPL is finally back into action yet again. What are going to be the top highlights this time, Ollie?
We've missed it, haven't we? Well, in terms of the top highlights of the season, there could be many. An unpredictable season potentially ahead for the Premier League. Part of that could be fans looking forward to seeing how Ipswich Town fare in the league, back in the top division after an absence of many years, and played such exciting football in the Championship last year. Could we be looking at more points deductions as one of the points of interest in this season ahead for Leicester City, perhaps even Manchester City, depending on the outcomes of various different investigations into those two clubs for slightly different reasons? Could we be looking at the last season of Pep Guardiola in charge of Man City in the Premier League? Could we be looking at a change of the guard at the top of the Premier League if Manchester City don't win the title this time around? Could we be looking at someone else at the top of the league for the first time in several years? A lot of fans will be very excited about the season ahead, unpredictable as ever, and so therefore difficult to suggest what the highlights might be, but certainly some exciting games ahead. Different managers at the top of clubs like Liverpool, for example, adds an extra air of uncertainty to it, and of course all of those comings and goings in the transfer market, which are still potentially not yet finished, which could also have an impact on some of the highlights that we may see in the months to come.
And talking about tonight's clash, Ollie, Man United will be up against Fulham, but Ten Hag says that they are not completely ready for it. What makes them say so ahead of the opening encounter?
Very interesting comments from Erik ten Hag, who, as you were saying, we know wasn't necessarily going to be in the job at this point, but the new ownership of the club, particularly when it comes to the direction of the playing side, decided in the end to go with him. That seems to be partly because of the FA Cup win, but also potentially partly because there weren't very many other candidates out there in the market that they thought would be an upgrade from Erik ten Hag at this point. Those comments have already been interpreted by some Manchester United fans as an excuse before the beginning of the season. We've heard that word used by the former Manchester United defender Gary Neville to explain those comments, but also in the same set of remarks we heard Erik ten Hag saying that he wants to challenge for the Premier League title this time around. He wants to challenge Manchester City when it comes to their dominance of English football. So he was being optimistic in one regard, but also I think pointing towards really the injury problems Manchester United have at the start of the season, a lack of a full playing squad in the pre-season stages, and therefore the lack of his ability to implement all of his ideas fully on the training pitch before this opening fixture against Fulham. And when it comes to Fulham, many are pointing to outgoings that they've had, which might make the season difficult for them, but others are saying they ended last season strongly and should be in a good spot to do well this time around. Marco Silva, the Fulham manager, is one of those managers that's being pinpointed early on. If he has a good start to the season with Fulham and another big club has a bad start to the season, could he be the type of manager that could become a target for one of the big clubs come around Christmas time?
All right, thank you so much, Ollie, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on tonight's match and what to look forward to as EPL begins its season yet again. Staying on soccer, Jarrod Bowen replaces Kurt Zouma as West Ham United's captain ahead of the new season of Premier League. Bowen, who joined the team in 2020, has made 202 appearances for the team, piling up 60 goals and 39 assists. Now, defender Kurt Zouma, who led the club last season, is in talks to move to the UAE club Shabad Al Ahli. Following the announcement, Bowen stated that he doesn't see captaincy as weighing heavy. He sees it as another opportunity to represent the club with honour and pride. Bowen has a contract with West Ham until 2030 that he penned last year in the month of October. German attacking midfielder Marco Reus has signed for LA Galaxy on a 2.5-year deal. 35-year-old Reus left Borussia Dortmund at the end of last season after 12 years with the Bundesliga club and joins the American side as a free agent. His final game for the German club was in their Champions League final defeat to Real Madrid in June. Reus scored 170 goals in 429 games for Dortmund and captained the side for 5 years until 2023, winning 2 German Cups with them. He also scored 15 times for Germany in 48 appearances. LA Galaxy are top of the Western Conference and their next game is at home to Atalanta United on 25th of August. The deal means Reus will be at the club until the end of the 2026 season. Move from soccer, Bayern Munich unveiled their new signing Michael Olise at their club's headquarters in Munich. He said he felt welcomed in Munich. He also recalled playing with Jamal Musiala in Chelsea youth team. The midfielder joined Bayern from Crystal Palace, where he had been playing since 2021, earlier in the transfer window. Ajax beat Panathinaikos in the Europa League third qualifying round after a penalty shootout that went on for an astonishing 25 minutes. On Thursday, after a grueling penalty shoot, the Dutch Giants, Ajax, emerged victorious by 13-12, with both the teams taking 17 penalty attempts each. Ajax goalkeeper Remco Pasveer turned out to be the hero as he saved 5 penalties and scored 1 himself. This fascinating event has set a UEFA competition record with a total of 34 penalties. The previous longest shootout happened in 2007 European Under-21 Championship final when the Netherlands beat England by 13-12 after 32 attempts. Moving on now, let's get you an update from the world of cricket. In the ongoing West Indies versus South Africa Test Series, rising star Shamar Joseph made an electric home Test debut, picking up a 5-wicket haul on the opening day of the second match against South Africa in Guyana. After Jayden Seales jolted South Africa with the early dismissal of Tony De Zorzi, Joseph left them wobbling with 2 blows in the space of 3 deliveries, sending back Aiden Markram and captain Temba Bavuma cheaply. He then added the scalps of David Bedingham, Keshav Maharaj and Kylie Varan to complete his fifer, finishing with bowling figures of 5 for 33 from 14 overs. At the close of play on day 1, the hosts were 97 for a loss of 7 wickets, trailing South Africa by 63 runs. From cricket pitches now, let's move on to tennis courts. Alexander Zverev won his 50th match of the season at the Cincinnati Open, beating Karen Khachanov in straight sets at the ATP Masters 1000 event. The German, who's looking to build momentum ahead of the US Open next month, came through 6-3, 6-2 and will now take on Pablo Carrillo Busta in the round of 16. Arina Sabalenka is safely through, beating Elizabeta in straight sets by 6-3 and 6-4 to set up a match with Elina Svitolina in round of 16. And that's all for this edition of DD India Sports Buzz. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika Mehto, and from all of us here in Delhi, thank you so much for watching Sports Buzz. Namaskar.